Hi, welcome back to our podcast, Books Don't Review Themselves. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kim.
And today we are going to be reviewing The Furies by Katie Lowe. I'm just going to start off with reading the book description, and this is taken from Goodreads. In 1998, a 16-year-old girl is found dead on the school property, dressed in white and posed on a swing with no known cause of death. The novel opens with this image as related to us by the narrator Violet. Looking back on the night, it happened from the present day before returning to relate the series of events leading up to the girl's murder. After an accident involving her dad and sister, Violet joins Elm Hollow Academy, a private girls' school in a quiet coastal town, which has an unpleasant history as the site of famous 17th century witch trials. Violet quickly finds herself invited to become the fourth member of an advanced study group alongside Robin, Grace, and Alex, led by the charismatic art teacher Annabelle. While Annabelle claims her classes aren't related to ancient rites and rituals, warning the girls off the topic, describing it as a little more than mythology. The girls start to believe that magic is real and that they can harness it. But when the body of a former member of the society, Robin's best friend, with whom Violet shares an uncanny resemblance, is found dead on the campus 9 months after she disappeared, Violet begins to wonder whether she can trust her friends, teachers, or even herself. And so, Goodreads, the rating right now is 3.26, and that's with 865 ratings and 382 reviews. So, you would rate it.
I would give it a 5.
And then I said I would rate it probably kind of between a 3.5 and 4 right now. My opinions usually change as we talk about it and as I write my review. There are plenty of times where I started off with 2s and they became 4s. So
it could change or it could get lower. So,
right.
Yeah, you never
so
know.
That's kind of where I am at right now.
And I know mine is going to fluctuate a bit. I'm giving it a 5 completely for the nostalgia factor.
Mm-hmm.
When The Craft came out, I was in college, went and saw it with a bunch of friends, had a great time. If I was in high school, I probably would have started my own little coven then. You know, I didn't dress in black, but I might have started. Black just doesn't look good on me. I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But so yeah, that's the reason I give it a 5. If I really, really think about it, it might be closer to a 4.
Mm-hmm.
But so I guess if you're going for nostalgia, 5. Or if you're someone who has never seen The Craft, maybe you'll be like, no, I wouldn't even give it close to a 5.
And, you know, I always try to read other people's reviews, kind of just to get ideas, I guess, for our podcast. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people mention The Craft. And the other book that was mentioned was The Secret History. Now, I've seen The Craft, and that was probably a while ago that I saw it.
Oh my God, you've actually seen a good movie?
I think I saw it like 2 years ago after you yelled at me about not seeing it.
Okay, good.
And I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It's funny because when I think back on The Craft now, it's been a while since I've seen it. Mm-hmm. I don't remember it being that dark. But it's funny because I'm sure at the time when it came out, it was probably kind of like, oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, it came out. I mean, I started college I graduated in 94, so I started college that same year. So it had to come out, 95, 96, something around there. So yeah, I mean, it was dark for back then.
Right. So that being said, a lot of the reviews pointed to The Craft as far as like the witchy part of this book, and then the mythology nods, I guess, to The Secret History. Now, I've never read The Secret History, but that's kind of what I read.
And The Secret History, looked it up, and the only book that came up was by Donna Tartt. I know I read that one years ago, and I remember really enjoying it. Whenever I'm like obsessed with books that have secret societies and stuff. So whenever I see like Secret History or Secret Society, like the movie The Skulls, I'm sure it was a bad movie. If I were to go watch it again, I'd be like, oh my God. But when it first came out and I watched it, I'm like, I love this movie because it's a secret society.
Yeah, and I think there's something just intriguing about it. The other thing I just want to mention quick, another portion of reviews had said that if you're someone who likes like Pretty Little Liars, this kind of falls into a similar category, so you would enjoy this book. If you don't enjoy that kind of show or film or The Craft, probably not the book for you. This is a young adult book, so just an FYI. I forgot because we had received copies of this from NetGalley, probably a month or two ago. Yeah. So I actually completely forgot it was a young adult book.
Going right back to Secret Societies really quick. Mm-hmm. I just watched a horror movie on, I think it was Hulu, and it was called Pledge. Ooh. So, of course, I had to watch it because, of course. And it was actually really good if you have Hulu. Like I said, I think it was Hulu. It could have been Netflix, but I think it was Hulu. It was enjoyable because there was blood and guts, which is always fun, and some body mutilation, which, if you're into that, awesome. If you're not, some days I am, some days I'm not. Not mutilating my own body, though, because it's a temple and it shall not be mutilated. Anyway, I recommend that. I just had a side note, sorry.
And I kept thinking about, and I don't know why it's been in my mind so much. Probably, I finished watching American Horror Story, the Apocalypse?
Cult. A cult. Okay, the cult one. Okay.
Yes, the cult one.
Have you started the Apocalypse?
Is it on Netflix now?
Yes, and it's on Hulu too.
Then I need to start that one because I know because I know 1984 is out now, so yes. I'm not watching that, and I know I have the season before 1984, so we finished the cult.
Okay.
So a lot of things lately, I'm like, oh my god, that's like American Horror Stories, the cult, and that's kind of what I thought of with this. It's not the exact same, but just like that. The cultiness.
Yeah. Covens are culty.
And then it also made me think, obviously, of was it the first one? No, Coven.
Coven, yeah.
Yeah. Was that the first one? No, the first one was the house one.
I think it was the third one.
But something always appealed to me about witches and covens. And the thing is like, not so much like the murder.
No.
It's like the spells and like, I don't know. It just... I think you're like, I wish I could.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of women feel that way because for various reasons and in various societies, we're looked down upon and we're the weaker sex and so on and so forth. And it's a form of power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a form of power that you can sacrifice things if you want. You don't have to. And you can probably tell by my face that, sacrificing is not my style, but
right,
there are religions that do, chicken sacrifices and stuff like that, and hopefully not baby sacrifices anymore, but it was a thing back with the Aztecs and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think there is still some of that, like, and don't quote me, but I think maybe it's Muslim or like Hindu where I think they sacrifice like a goat. On like a certain day. I don't know what that's called, so don't quote me on that. So it's still around in a religious sense.
And a lot of times too, when they sacrifice the chicken or the goat, it doesn't go to waste.
Right.
They eat it and stuff. It's not just thrown in a fiery pit, or maybe it is.
Right.
Who knows? Depending on the religion.
I guess the thing that I wished for this book a little bit more is the teenage angst and like the teenage story that was intertwined to me was very like Mean Girls type, and to me it was like I wanted more of the dark, sinister witchiness stuff. And the thing is, I've always said young adult books are either like, whoa, this shouldn't probably be a young adult book, or it's like, two high school kids fell in love, and they had sex. Yeah.
Oh, no.
And so I wouldn't say it was that, but it wasn't, way up here where it was like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. And I tried to think to myself, like, what could have been done differently for me to give it a 5? And I think I would have liked more of the witchiness, but maybe something with like college or older.
Okay. Instead of high school.
Yeah, would have been more appealing because I feel like in that sense you could have had more of the witch stuff where it's hard to have high school without
the drama,
the high school bullshit. You know what I mean? Like it.
And I think there's still bullshit in any group, coven,
or for sure,
whatever.
For sure.
And then also Katie Lowe, I was reading about on her blog, Fat Girl PhD, some paper she wrote or something. It's women and rage and culture and writing and stuff like that. So, if you look at it that way, this was probably like taken off of her thesis. She's like, I'll just write a fiction book now because I, did all this hard work on my thesis, so I might as well make some money off of it.
Right.
So for me, that was interesting because I feel like unfortunately, whenever you get a group of people or a group of women together, you have drama of some sort.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think, obviously teenage girls, you're going to have a lot of drama.
Mm-hmm.
But like covens themselves, if you have a coven of 13 witches and they're all different age groups and socioeconomic, and all that other stuff, they have different thoughts and ideas. And even though they're coming together for the witchcraft,
that doesn't change who they are as a person.
Exactly.
And I guess the thing that's hard for me with this book is we are going to be reviewing, what is that called? Craftsman. We're going to be reviewing The Craftsman with our other reviewer friend, Scott. And that is it is a witchy tale.
Is it? I haven't read it yet, so I'm excited. Yay!
Okay. So I listened to that one because as soon as we let Scott pick that book, as soon as he picked it, I went on Scribe or Scribd. I don't know how you say it.
We'll say Scribd. From now on, it's Scribd.
Downloaded it and started listening to it right away, which...
Or maybe we should say Scribed, because a scribe. We'll say Scribed. Because Scribd sounds... Yeah, Scribed.
Scribed. Okay, we'll call it Scribed from here on out.
Until next time, then we'll call it Script.
And then we'll both go, what do we call it? That one, I probably should have waited to listen to it a little bit. I'm having recollections and thinking about this book of that book. Okay. And it just makes me realize, again, when I finished that book, I felt a certain way. And now it's like I kind of like that book even more than I like this book.
Good.
Given us talking about this book.
Okay.
Yeah, because that book is witchy.
Ooh.
And I think you'll enjoy it.
Excellent.
But yeah, I would have liked more of that. And I'm someone who likes darker thrillers and suspense. Like if I'm going to read it, go all the way. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Get nasty with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is I always kind of giggle to myself, and it's probably just me kind of being a sinister bitch, is that when people are like, oh, this was a little too much for my taste. And I'm like, this was nothing. This was nothing.
Like, this was puppies licking your face. Come on, lady. What's wrong?
And a couple people were like, I am not finishing this because what happened to that cat?
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
I know, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's yeah. I just feel like still, it's fairly mild.
It's very mild. It is very mild.
Compared to the other young adult book we read.
What Happened That Night by Deanna Cameron.
Yes. This is so much lighter as far as how the, sex and drinking and that kind of stuff is written, in my opinion.
And with the cat episode, I was sad, but...
no one's going to be like, yeah, kill that. Maybe some people out there will be like that.
I'm sure there will be, but
most people... I don't sit there when I'm reading a thriller yeah, kill them, unless they're really really bad person. It's still something about, it's like when you watch horror movies, you don't watch it saying oh, I hope this really happens in real life.
I don't say that. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, you need to kill that person now because they're really annoying me.
Right. But it's a movie.
Exactly.
It's a book. You know what I mean? And that just kind of irks me a little bit. And granted, everyone has their own tolerance. And I try to be. But when I read that on some of these lighter thrillers, I'm oh, it was just too much. It's then why did you pick it up?
Exactly. You just need to stick with your cozy mysteries or your soft romances. Something lighter.
Right.
That you can handle.
Because if you can't handle thriller.
Why request it then? Why read it?
It's one thing, in our realm where we like thriller and we will read different types of thriller and we can say, yeah, this was a good thriller. But if you're someone who's just I absolutely hate romance, don't read romance or don't read thriller. It's okay.
It's fine. There's so many books out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Going back to the drama, it was not my favorite part of the book. And I will say, that's, I think, why I would give it the 4 stars.
Right. And that's exactly why I did. I just felt like the story was missing if it would have had a little less of that and a little more of the witchiness
and when it got to the end and when the story started tying up and you saw who murdered who and what happened to Emily and so on and so forth, that was when I was getting really intrigued. That's when it got good. That's when it would have jumped back up to a 5. But that was the last fourth of the book. So
right.
there wasn't a lot of that.
Yeah.
I feel like if we do talk about some of that stuff, it's going to be spoilers. So if we want to say anything else before we get into spoilers.
I don't really think I have anything else.
No, it was, the teenage drama, the rage. The rage. Did we want to discuss that a little bit? You were saying some people on Goodreads.
Yes. Reading some of the review on Goodreads, you had the people that really enjoyed the rage and was like, yes, like girl power.
Yes.
And then you had people that were kind of like, and I'm using my own words for this, but basically were like, fuck this, like, portraying women as always these angry bitches and blah, blah, blah. And to me, I don't know. I didn't feel one way about it. You're a witch. You're going to, like, whether you were a man or a woman, a coven's a coven. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I feel like there's more drama if there's girls, but I didn't feel, like, offended.
I didn't feel offended at all. And I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I was happy that she put it in there because so many girls are taught to be quiet and just, hold your voice. And when girls or young women or women do rage out, people are like, oh, she's just a fucking bitch. You know?
And now that you say that, that's like the one thing that drives me fucking insane is like if I say something to you nicely 7 times and you don't fucking listen, you're gonna get a bitchy wrath. And if that's when you listen and you go, oh my God, why are you such a bitch? You're gonna get slapped.
Exactly.
Because it's like, you're taught to like, you don't want to be rude, you don't want to be disrespectful and all these things. And then it's like, you're not listened to the first time and then you get pissed off because you're sick of not getting listened to. So I think now that you said that the way that she had them angry but also in a position of almost like power, I mean, I think that part was I thought was really cool.
Yes.
So.
And I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to witchcraft. You'll see a lot of misfits and strange people in it.
It's control.
It's power and, it's control and power, and it's something that they might be lacking in their regular everyday life. The other thing, going back to the rage, there's a part in the book where Viv is having sex with, I can't think of the guy's name.
Is it Dean?
Whatever, the first guy that she was with, the first time she had sex in the book. And she said something to the fact, like, before they were having sex, women are taught to, like, engage and ask questions to men about their interests, but not to talk about our own, or else if we do talk about our own, to like downplay them, like they're not as important. And I find that 100% true. And the weird thing is, after, reading this and starting thinking about it more so, and I was a women studies minor, so you would think I would have thought about this kind of stuff already, but, I was 18 years old when I took these courses, so I was still young and not all my thoughts and opinions were there yet, but now I have lots of thoughts and opinions. Lots.
Well, and it probably helps too that you're older
and you get see like more stuff.
You see more stuff, but you also give, the older I get, the less of a shit I give about what I say. Like either you take it or leave it, and I mean, it is what it is. You don't have to be my friend. You don't have to like me. Like, exactly. I'm not in high school anymore. But the thing, like you saying that, I mean, that is so true. Like, I mean, to be totally transparent, that's even like conversations that you still have, like, or at least I still have with like my spouse, is like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, or blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of, it's not that it's not that he's being rude, or it's not that he's purposely, I think it's something that just makes him uncomfortable. However, when roles are reversed, if someone else is in the mood or whatever, then it's like, let's go, And to me, it's like, and the way I said that is probably not right. Like, he's not like forcing me to do anything. Like,
are you talking about sex? I was so
yes.
confused. Okay, I wasn't talking about that, but let's continue with your vein. I'm enjoying this.
Yes. I'm going to like start that over a little bit.
Okay.
But basically, in relation to the sex and like women and whatever, I find that to be so true, is that, even now, I am officially 28 years old. Even now, if I have that conversation, like with my spouse, for example, I can tell he shies away from it and he gets a little uncomfortable when I'm like, well, these are kind of,
Are you saying the things that you want sexually or what?
Or just like any conversation about sex. Like if you're like, I want to have sex more, or, you know, anything like that. It's kind of like, but it's like when
he's in the mood,
it's like,
why aren't you in the mood? Let's go upstairs.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just with him. It's with any relationship. When I think back to it that I have had, it's been very much kind of that way where it's like, well, what would make you happy? Like, what do you like? I mean, my husband actually said this to me, and it's kind of funny, is that it was like, okay, I can buy a piece of lingerie, right? And I can wear that, whatever. What can he do that's similar for me? You know, and he even said that to me, and I like sat there and I thought about it. I'm like, you know, I don't really know, because it's like, I'm not gonna like, you dressed in something is probably not going to get me.
I don't know, though. For me, like, if a guy's in a nice suit, or, like,
if
he's in jeans and a white t-shirt. And got good arms.
Yes. But that's the thing, is if they're dressed well, not if they're dressed down. Like, what could your husband...
in his underwear.
Yeah. Like,
like, dude, put some clothes on.
Like, what can you purchase geared towards sex for your like your husband?
Well, I guess if you're into S&M and stuff, maybe a gimp mask might turn you on.
I don't know. Like, it's just like,
personally,
average, you know, it's like, am I going to be turned on if he's like in a G-string?
No,
I'm not, you know?
Easter guy, no.
You know? And it's like, that's the thing is...
But men are visual creatures. Women are not as visual of creatures, most of us.
Yeah, but like you said, seeing a well-dressed guy, like in a nice suit, and their hair is nice, and like whether they have a beard,
that smells good.
Yeah, like that's a turn on.
Yes.
And to me, that's almost the same thing as like, you know, if you're wearing a piece of lingerie and that turns them on, it's the same thing. It's just that there's a whole sex industry geared towards women being sexy to men, but it's like, where is that? You know, like how far can we walk to find a strip club? Not very far.
Right down the road.
And who's going to be dancing at that strip club?
Ladies.
Like
twice a year they'll have men there.
On Widow's Weekend.
Yeah.
When it's like our men scamper to the woods and go hunting. Then it's
There's
like,
one coming up. We should go to it.
And then it's like, oh, here's your chance, ladies. I mean, like if you're in Vegas or something, it's different.
All the time.
But to me, like, it's funny you brought that up, because we were actually kind of talking about this at work, because I had read an article about how with the new Joker is coming out, like there's this whole like underground society. I can't think of let me find the name of them. But basically they're kind of the misfits.
Okay. And
they created almost like these chat rooms and whatever. And it's kind of turned violent during these things. Okay. But a lot of it was guys who are like, I've tried everything and I'm always deemed the nice guy. And like, I've changed my diet and this and that. And so this kind of makes me think of that a little bit, because when I read about that, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
So like the guys who women won't have sex with them and then they go off on them?
Yeah, like they like...
Is that
incels?
Incels, there we go. Yeah,
yes.
I'm like, this is not right. Okay.
And so when I don't
like celibate or something, but they don't want to be celibate because us bitches won't have sex with them.
Basically. Oh. And to me, that pissed me off so bad, because I'm like, you know what? Because their mentality was like, oh, we're just the nice guy and no one cares if you're the nice guy. And it's like, yeah, I care if you're nice, but if that's all you have to bring to the table, like...
Yeah.
And I'm like, I told my coworkers, I'm like, do you wonder when you're putting dollar bills in someone's G-string if they're nice? You know, like when you're at the strip clubs and throwing money at these women, are you like, I wonder if she's nice?
And I'd hate to say...
You know what I mean?
Next time I go, I'm gonna go into that now. I want these incel people, and I'm gonna say those people. I'm totally using that term.
Them folk.
If they, if they're nice guys, I will guarantee you 99% of them were not nice people. They were assholes or something to begin with. And you don't just all of a sudden go, oh, women won't have sex with me, so I'm going to start, beating on them or killing them or stalking them. Because that's kind
of what I read too, was the whole point of the article was that with the Joker coming out, and I remember reading a similar article when like the Purges came out, is that like the incels, and I think there's another group when the Purge came out, but similar.
Nazis? Anyway.
They almost like gang up and caused havoc. But yeah, it just, to me, was like, okay. Yeah. Like, you're going to throw a fit. It's like, do you think every guy I talked to or every guy I was interested in was interested back? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
like,
that's what they feel. They feel like women were beneath them.
Just in general.
Yeah,
yes.
And that we should do whatever they want. If they want sex, then we should go and have sex with them. No.
Yeah.
But to go back a little bit, when I was saying, you know, being in college, being a women's studies minor, and like not seeing some of this stuff, and then I started thinking about this, I was never told explicitly, like from my mom or my sister or anyone, that, you know, I have to engage men and hear what they like, you know, first and like giggle and stuff like that. But yet it happened. Why did this happen? You know?
Do you think it's, I mean, in my opinion, is it being surrounded by like your friends and like.
And you see them and they got it from their mothers and their aunts and so on and so forth.
And I had, you know, you saying that, I was talking to one of my a different coworker, and she was saying like how her daughter sometimes acts stupid, and she always tells her being dumb is not cute. Being stupid is not cute. But that's just kind of where you're just like, oh, yeah. And it's like, why is that? Why?
But yet we do it. And it's like thinking about that. And that's why I enjoyed the rage part of this book.
Right.
Because the girls were like, fuck you. And, you know, the fact that they're 17, 18 years old. And I mean, granted, this is fiction. This is a book. And already having that power behind them was wonderful. You know, I'm 43 and I still do stuff like that. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Why am I doing this?
Yeah, you don't even catch yourself.
Until later on and you're like, oh my God.
Like when you read something like this and you're like, yeah. Yeah, because I guess I didn't even totally think about the whole sex thing until you said that. And it's like, yeah, that is really true because it's geared towards like women, you know, even in movies, it's like the guy's laying in bed and the woman's like putting on a show. It's
being
like
seductress.
Yeah, I'm like, when are you gonna do that for me?
Exactly. I have needs.
Yeah,
satisfy mine first.
And not only that, like I said before, it's like unless you're like in a full suit, whatever, like unless you're like Christian,
if you're
Grey,
just laying there naked,
that's not you know, it's not the same.
No.
But
penises aren't attractive. But yeah.
But a well-dressed man is.
Oh, that is very attractive.
And the older I get, I don't know if this is just me or if this is just like in general, but like I want the salt and pepper. You know?
Like like in just the temples.
And like even in the facial hair.
Yeah, a little bit in the beard.
Yeah. It's as I get older, it's like
see, and that's the sucky thing. Fuck you, society, because men.
Yes, they get.
You know, it's like, oh, gray hair, and you know, so sexy and hot, and then women, it's like, dye your hair, bitch. Otherwise, no. You know, it's like, fuck you.
Like if I had long salt and pepper hair, nobody would probably be like, oh yeah. Exactly. You know what I mean?
They feel like your roots are showing, lady.
Yeah, you look like a skunk.
You look like a witch. Dye your hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Anything else that we want to, before we do a little spoilers? Because I want to talk about some of the stuff that happens.
I don't really have anything else.
Okay. So,
Spoilers.
If you've enjoyed so far and don't want spoilers, thanks for watching. And please come back and watch more. And like, subscribe, tell your friends. Start a coven. Whatever you want. The first thing that I'm going to put out there is Emily being found in the tree. What? I'm just like, so who did this? Did I just like miss the part? Was it insinuated? And was it the dean of the schools? Was it the girls? Who was it?
No,
who did this?
It was God, and I get them all mixed up.
Okay,
I know it was one of the girls
that did it. Really,
that did it. I believe it was because like the girl's mother and I think grandmother before her were part of this special study group.
That's right. I do remember that now.
And so she said the study group was full.
Yes. Nikki or something. Some other girl. Yeah.
Yes.
The one that's just kind of flittering around the edges.
Yes.
Did she actually say she did it?
I guess I don't know if she like actually was like, oh, it was me, but
So that's who. Okay, now that you say that, that makes sense. For some
it was
reason,
like in the last like 3 pages.
Okay, maybe I was just like
Let's see if I
right
can
before
pull it up quick, but
midnight, and I was half asleep and shouldn't have been reading at that point.
I know that's always the
Okay,
worst.
I think I remember that though, because part of me after like the book ended and I was thinking back, I was thinking, did the dean of the schools do that? So that's like a whole nother level of craziness to kill another person just to be part of this coven / study group. Yeah.
Right. Looks like it was Nikki.
Nikki. Okay, that was...
Because she said, so I went up to my mom's attic and I found the Book of Rights. And well, I did one and it worked. Emily disappeared, so there was room in the society, but then you, she sighed.
Okay, that's where... Okay, so we're going to go on, was this really magic? Were the girls really performing magic with the Furies? Because I think that's where my question was. I think I started thinking about that. I'm like, so Nikki, did this spell,
right?
This rite. Then the girl disappeared. But then part of me was thinking that the dean, the head of the schools, killed her and put her in the tree because he was writing that book and he wanted like a final ending that was like a wow factor. And then that's when I started like questioning stuff more so. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So part of me still thinks like Nikki did this. Okay. I believe there's magic in this world. Mm-hmm. And I believe for this book being fiction, what the girls did, some of it was magical. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like what Nikki did was
enough to kill.
Exactly. Yeah. With just her, and not having a full coven behind her or a blood sacrifice or anything. So that's why I was thinking that Nikki did the right, but then that the dean actually killed her and stuffed her in the tree. So he would have a wow factor to the end of his book. So yeah, just weird spoilers that people are like, "What the hell?" But we warned you.
They kind of start with it.
Yeah, they with the dead person on the swing
in the tree. Yeah.
Oh, in the tree. Yeah, yeah. So that was my biggest question. So let's get back. Do you feel like in this book, what the girls did was fiction? I mean, was like actual magic and witchcraft, or do you feel like it was just weird coincidences? Because like the guy that Violet had sex with that she really didn't want to be having sex with, and it would be considered rape. They did the right, and he, what, was it a car accident afterwards? How did he die? He died somehow. I mean, do you feel like it was magic, or do you feel like it was just quinky dinks?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think part of me is biased because it's like they're teenagers, and do you feel like this is a real coven? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it would be hard to say that they were all coinky dinks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, kind of like you said, where it's like, I don't know. I just don't feel like, was there enough witch power? I don't know what you want to call it behind it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It just, I think I feel differently because they're teenagers.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Like, do you have enough at that point to fester up
enough power and
right? Mm-hmm. Because like a lot of other witch books that I've read, they're full-grown adults and they're like groups of 6-ish or more,
or 7 or 13.
Yep, mm-hmm. And then they have to do things at like certain times, like full moons and whatever, and almost have to use all of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, because I hate when, like in Harry Potter, they call like the females witches. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's like, yes, they have magical powers, but I don't think of that as a witch. Like, I think of like
the spells,
the coven, the, sisterhood or whatever as like witches. Mm-hmm. And so other book that I read, The Craftsman, mm-hmm. I can't remember if it was like 7 or 13.
Yeah, usually it's 7
but they were, I'm pretty sure they were all adults as well. Okay. So to me, it was like that was more realistic in that book than it is to me in this book. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like these can't all be coincidences,
mm-hmm. I feel like the first one that they did with the 4 girls and the guy who raped her getting into an accident, I feel like that was. But like I said, I still feel like the dean killed Emily and shoved her in the tree for his book, for the wow factor. And then obviously, the dean getting killed.
And let's just put it out on the table.
Spoilers, lots more.
If you have a teacher named Annabelle, Annabelle, the first thing I thought when I read that was oh my fucking God.
What?
Annabelle, the movies Annabelle and the fucking creepy
the
dolls
doll,
and the fucking spirits and
Mm-hmm.
The Conjuring and that's what I thought of. And I'm willing to bet so did Katie.
Yeah, maybe subconsciously she's this name will fit well for
Yeah, because this book came out when? It came out April of 2019.
Yeah.
For sure.
That was in her mind. That was in her mind.
It was in my mind. I'm
I didn't even think of it until you said that. And I'm like, where are you going with this? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Fucking Annabelle.
Yeah. I guess we didn't give you lots of spoilers, but I needed that question answered for myself. Because I'm just but then when Violet was at the dean's house and she finds the book and stuff, that was a wow to me. Yeah. I did not see that coming. And I'm like, oh, that part made me giggle.
I guess we should also probably mention that there is sexual assault and drinking and whatever. Because that was something that I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier where in some of the reviews people were oh, there was a lot of blah, blah, blah. And I mean, we have said, it's not considered a lot for us, but there is some animal abuse, mutilation.
That made me sad. But I mean, having read previous, serial killer books and stuff like that, I skip over the animal mutilation parts because I don't like that. Human mutilation, whatever, but not animal mutilation.
Yeah, don't hurt my animals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, I don't know what else to really spoil without having to include more.
Backstory.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of the book, like you said, you don't get a lot of it tied up till the last quarter of the book.
Then it's oh, okay. And there was some good there.
Yeah. And I think overall the story is good. I just think if maybe there was just a little more in the darkness of it. And my personal preference is maybe just taking some of the drama out. But again, if you're basing it off high school girls,
then it's perfect.
Then it's great. But it's kind of funny because I was thinking when they talk about the comparison to Pretty Little Liars, when I started watching Pretty Little Liars, I was in high school and I loved it. I was
give me more.
Yeah. And I kind of wonder now if I went to watch the first few episodes, if I would be this is garbage.
Which you
because I've gotten darker with age.
And then sometimes you just can't handle the drama. You're just oh my God, just stop already.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
but I say read this book. I'm still gonna give it a 5 after talking more. I like the rage aspect. Women power. Don't bow down. Be safe. Obviously, don't put yourself in situations. Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I would say if you like The Craft, if you like The Secret, the one by Donna Tartt, if you like that book, definitely.
The Secret History.
Secret History, there we go. Pretty Little Liars. If you just like witchcraft books, if you like teen drama.
So it's a good book. It's just if you're thinking that it's going to be something that's if you're a hardcore thriller suspense person, it's good, but it's not going to be the knock your socks off thriller that's going to leave you oh my God. So otherwise, we hope you enjoy our review. We hope you go and read the book and enjoy the book. Stay tuned for our next podcast and our next book review.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, with him, I couldn't remember. I'm like, what the fuck happened? But I think that in my mind, that's how it played out. That the dean just wanted more for his book. So then I felt fine with the girls killing him.
And so they had the dean of the school, and then there was a guy named Dean, right?
Yeah, I think there was like her boyfriend.
Why do they do that?
I don't know. It's like
what was the last book we fucking read that had like all
the D's with Diane and Dave and fucking Dan, and I'm like, God damn it, bitch.
And it's so funny because the